or the 2-bedroom small stuff.
Yeah. So that would be a residential, so it would be what?
And the association is kind of different. I think.
Yeah,
So it might go ahead.
yeah, yeah. So it would be commercial properties, and then if it's government property or church.
Yeah, I read that.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, you could, I hope so, it's been an hour and a half.
You get people who agree with these things, but if you get reason to get into
Mhm. Good. I think she's doing good. You got past that 1 year. You know, I mean, there's times where they're all over.
Harvesting actually harder than grounding as well.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Part of the place, no, human.
Yeah.
That, and I don't find
Mm,
it.
yeah, no.
We have to, if we hadn't had this tremendous little year
Right.
and a half ago, or some distraction, I think Madison is still struggling a great deal.
Yeah.
Because she spent.
Paragraph, I know that's where he's
20
saying.
minutes trying to find it, not enough. And it's not my own son's business, it's in Santa Fe.
No, people just discharge all their stuff.
We treat.
Yeah,
His own business.
yeah, it's free stormwater.
I need some shoes, but from the district chair.
No, it's just additional.
And he has.
But that's what he said. I mean, it's-
First aid class.
Yeah, that's what he said. So.
And he had that class just before, refreshment, just before it came. Yeah. And he said, hey, it's hard. Is there something else? They're just,
Yeah.
so we haven't done that yet. Madison is cool. It gets spread in and on.
Yeah, right. Just moved it.
Right.
And then,
Oh, that.
Katie said, signature, you drop that. I gotta go.
Yeah. Hey, talk to you later.
Okay.
Thanks. That's-
Yep.
I know all I need. What do you want on the screen? Start with.
Just show the council when they go through the things.
The ordinance or?
Well, the first thing's on the agenda, and then when we get to Joe doing the presentation, then if you'll just turn the camera towards him up here at the mic. And then once he starts, once you show on screen his presentation, which is, I don't see it.
Put on there.
It should be, it should look like this. Is there more? Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Hey, so I think, so when we're ready to start the hearing, if you want to say anything to start the hearing,
When you want to do the hearing?
you got to adjourn. You got to
Oh.
recess.
After the minutes?
Yes. After you determine the quorum, you could make a motion to
Adjourn.
suspend or recess
Yeah.
the regular meeting and open a public hearing.
Okay.
And then when we're done, we'll close the public hearing, and then you'll call the order. Resume.
Let me grab some.
And then you call for a motion, one of these guys, we gotta call for a motion and to approve the resolution.
Copy of the,
Yeah, I think you've got the official copy of that.
should already have the number on it too, 0120.
Oh, yeah.
Because you introduced it last month.
Then after you vote, then you guys need to sign it whether you voted yes or no.
Okay.
And then, for the presentation, what I thought we'd do is, I'll just introduce Joe, who did most of the engineering work and created the 20-year plan. In his presentation, he timed it for 10 minutes, so he'll go 12. Right. That's what engineers do. And then I'll talk about he's a PE too. You gotta watch the engineer jokes.
We get paid by the word.
Yeah, we have very thick skins. Yeah. So then, and then I'll talk about the Baker Tilly letter. Go over that real quickly. And then we'll just, I guess, open it up to questions. Either through the internet. Everybody should know. I do know don't time report myself being here. That's all I know. I haven't heard anybody say they're showing.
It's not on the chat.
Which is a good thing. So, what time?
It's all about the sports complex.
Really? What are they saying about that?
Pricing, there's Carmelie.
Yeah, we went there to look at it Sunday. My daughter, who's 6, ran into one of the steel columns. Mom didn't know it yet because I won't tell her, but it had all the way down to the bone. We had to take her to the emergency room.
That scared the hell out of her. She was.
Oh, I was like 20 feet away. I heard this boom. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody's got one. And, so I just
Facebook call.
40 years of being a fireman came in handy. I got grabbed her pretty quick before it really started to use things. It was such a perfect cut, but they just used that surgical glue, super glue. Yeah. We're ready to start whenever you are.
All right, 6, we'll go ahead and call to order the February 2nd, 2021 Pendleton Board of Stormwater Management Special Meeting. And we'll begin with the oath of office.
Yes, we just have one person, our new member, is it Berline? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, sir.
You'd raise your right hand. I, Zach Berline,
I, Zach Berline,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
as well as the ordinances of Madison County
as well as the ordinances of Madison County
and the town of Pendleton,
and the town of Pendleton,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and diligently
and diligently
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of board member
of the office of board member
of the Board of Stormwater Management,
of the Board of Stormwater Management,
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Congratulations.
We forgot the band.
Next time.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll go ahead and take a roll call. Since we're all here, do we need to do roll calls or?
You can just note for the record that all 3 members are present.
Okay. All right, all 3 members are present. We have a quorum. On the drive, there's previous minutes. You want to take a look at those, and I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'd like to make a motion to approve it.
With a motion, with a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, we'll go ahead and suspend the meeting and open a public hearing. And it's 6:03.
All right. So I'm Scott Reski, town manager. I need to note that we have two people online that, John Seaver and Mitchell, they're with Baker Tilly. They were the ones that worked up the report that we'll go over after we're done with Joe Miller's presentation. Joe's from Banning Engineering. He worked up the 20-year plan, and he has roughly a 10-minute presentation just to present the problems and that we have with flooding and possible solutions. So Joe, I'll turn it over to you.
Joe Miller with Engineering. Hopefully everybody can hear me. And hopefully the presentation is up there on the screen. We had on the title sheet, we had a couple of photos that are pretty reminiscent of a lot of the input we got from the local residents as far as some of the issues they have with pretty dramatically flooded streets. So that's pretty telling when you're getting that kind of input from the public. So here we want to just kind of give a quick little background of kind of where we're at and some of the definitions that are typically used and some of the stormwater stuff. Not to get it too in depth, but the Stormwater Utility Board is in charge of maintaining and improving this stormwater infrastructure in the town. They work with obviously town staff in order to make that happen, but they're the ones in charge of those particular endeavors. Equivalent residential unit. So this is something that is probably new to a lot of folks. That is essentially the average impervious area for one residential property. And in the town of Pendleton, it's 3,842 square feet. And it's used to set the bar on how many you calculate how many ERUs are on industrial commercial properties, which we did that. So that's essentially any impervious area, gravel, pavement, or concrete, rooftops, all count in that impervious area calculation. So you take the area there on those commercial industrial properties divided by 3,842, you come up with an ERU amount for industrial and commercial property. So that's how those rates are set for them. Brief history, the Stormwater Board was formed in 2014. And then here in August of 2020, the town hired Banning Engineering to do the 20-year plan and asked us to do it pretty quick. So in September, we had an open house. There's quite a few people here. We probably had, I think, 25 to 30 folks here in person. And then kind of in the times we have today, we made sure we had some kind of online platform for folks to reply and put in their input, which was really pretty successful. That was launched on Facebook and some other town websites in order to get public input. So we use that as well as some of the historical data that the town has with town staff as to where problem areas are, where they usually see issues, where they've been having to do a lot of maintenance to formalize capital projects. So we've got 11 capital projects, and obviously we're have a bunch of ongoing maintenance and some other stuff to go through.
What page are you on?
I'm still on the
Photo?
no, I'm still on the
hotspots?
definitions and history.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll tell you. I will point to
Okay,
you when you
yeah,
go.
thank you.
No problem.
Mhm.
Yeah, so today, well, in November 2020, we did the formalized report, pass it on to town, and I know they pass it on to financial consultants to kind of formalize and give the town some options, because there is a lot of work to do in the town that's needed, and having their input on that is pretty helpful for the town to make a educated decision on the public hearing with the stormwater rate changes that charges we're talking about today. We'll go to the next slide. So here you'll see the public outreach. We've got, we're able to get over 60 individual submissions, and you'll see there on the slide, it's kind of hard to read, but a lot of them are extreme flooding, roadway is totally covered, it gets over a foot over the curb, those kind of things. We're able to get a lot of dramatic photos and videos from the public as well, which was really helpful in discerning, where to place projects and how to place them. And with the online submission, it went right to the address. So you see here on the right, you've got the red circles kind of outline where the public submissions were. And you see the kind of multitude of colors of kind of linear. Those are the projects that are shown for capital projects that we were able to forward. So you'll generally see that for the most part, those all kind of correspond to each other. You go to the next slide. So to formalize an actual cost amount. So we've got the equivalent residential units for the town, but we need to formalize a value that those units need to fund. And to do that, you split it up into 3 parts: the debt payback, ongoing annual maintenance, and then capital projects. So here you see the first one is debt payback. Honestly, this probably could have been higher if you guys wanted it to be. There's been a lot of work on the utility. So you see here, and we're just kind of annualizing for the first 5 years, trying to get it done for a little bit less than $95,000 on average. And this is work that's already been done or things that have already been paid for associated with the stormwater utility. Just want to go to the next sheet. Here you see this elaborate Excel sheet showing wages and benefits. You have there, there's 2 town employees that are really associated with working on the stormwater utility. You've got a clerk's office and 1.5 stormwater utility workers. You've got some billing that needs to be done, some engineering work, council, and then you also have, there's got to be equipment. So you've got the street sweeper, like pay part of it off, you got to pay the rest of it off. Looking into getting a jetting machine long term. Additionally, see down as you go down to small projects, there's obviously some materials and hiring somebody to help clean those out to kind of know where you're at. And then also regular drain and culvert repair. In the incorporated area, there is some area, outside of the downtown that is within the town of Pendleton that contains the regulated drain tiles. There's a bunch of culverts, and there's also regulated drain open ditches, and maintenance on those things have been incorporated into this as well. For fees, so on annualized, it's just over $400,000 anticipated for those fees. Now we'll scroll into the capital projects, and in the first 5 years, there was 4 projects that were really highlighted by the town. That was pretty paramount that those got done first. You'll see the first one's up there on the top. First 2 really, it's kind of a phase project. So phase 1 shown there in kind of a yellow. It discharges into the park, and then it gets up to Water Street as far able to drain that area, and provides an outlet for Hollowell, which is the second phase, as well as an extension of some other storm work there to the south. Project 3 runs along a old railroad corridor. Predominantly, there's a small undersized tile that's in disrepair. It's been patchworked back together, but it does need to be replaced, as well as some other drainage facilities in the locality there. And then project 4 is along Adams Street there. You'll see that running north to south up to State Street. Those projects, so those 4 projects in total cost just over $3 million. So a pretty substantial amount of work needed to be done there. So we were asked to put a 20-year plan together. So we have obviously 7 additional projects beyond that. There are areas in town that have maybe not quite as much flooding, but they are a hindrance. Project 5 in front of the elementary schools, there's a lot of water just kind of sits, and students have to walk through it or walk around it, and it becomes a little bit of a hazardous issue for them. Project 5 is the eastern, shown there in pink. It's the eastern part of High Street between Pendleton Ave and East Street, and got numerous photos and issues forwarded on that. Project 7 is essentially an extension of Project 3. It extends it up near the fire station there. And Project 8 is Pearl Street. It currently doesn't have any storm sewer along it, and it just kind of flows straight down and continues off to the west from there. So you collect it and get it into the actual pipe network quicker. We have 3 other projects that were closer to more of like a regulated drain. We've got some erosion up there to the north, the purple one, Project A, shown along an open ditch. McCarty Pendleton regulated drain there to the south. It has to cross 67 and Railroad. There's a very poorly drained area over there to the east. And then the Rosa Fry drain needs to be reconstructed as well over there on the kind of the northwestern side of the map. Those are just under $5 million. So, like I said, we went through and accommodated the impervious area for the whole town. And so the total ERUs for the town were estimated to be 4,210.2. With that, it was a 1 ERU minimum per parcel, and the 600 class of properties were the tax exempt and municipal properties. We did lower that to 20% of the overall ERUs calculated. So if there's 100 ERUs calculated, 20 were forwarded for the purposes of this report and the billing fee. With that said, the worst case scenario for the town as far as a financial obligation would be completing those capital year projects 1 through 5, debt payback, and ongoing maintenance for years 1 through 5. That came up to a $22 per month ERU, which is pretty substantial. Just to cover the maintenance and the debt payback, comes up to just over $8 per ERU, which is pretty substantial as well. You'll see a background breakdown there. Roughly half the ERUs are the industrial commercial sector. 40% roughly is the residential, and 6% is the tax exempt and the the agricultural portions. Just for some reference, because I know the rate study by Baker Tilly is going to kind of update some of the options for the town. But stormwater rates have been in place since the late 20th century, early part of the 2000s. And a lot of towns are really bringing those back up to where they can do some capital projects and do some work. You'll see here some of the higher ones around recently that have been approved. So you got in excess of $13 in Tipton and $12.50 and higher for Valparaiso and Linton and Logansport. So that's kind of the trend we're seeing with some of these fees as far as stormwater goes. So I'll open it up to some questions.
You guys have any questions?
I have one question. Initially, at the rates that are mentioned for the 4 cities that you have listed, are you guys doing any projects in any of those cities, or is it just happenstance that the rate that we're potentially going to be looking at this evening is in line with these 4 cities?
So we were asked today, hey, what are kind of some of the rates that are going on now recently? So we were asked to put forth some of those rates, and we picked out these that are kind of in a higher, because we know this is a higher ERU rate than maybe what somebody would like, but showing some comparative cities that are of reasonably similar size that have rates that are pretty high as well. So that was what we were asked to do. So that's why we forwarded those. There are some minimum rates. Obviously, you want to cover maintenance and debt. There's some other issues with getting, I guess I call bonus points. So with OCRA and other agencies like USDA, you need to have minimum rates for your ERU, which is at least $5, and that's been in place for a long time. I would suspect that'll probably be going up here in a few years, just because inflation has really hit pretty hard in the construction industry in the last 3 years. It's gone up dramatically from a cost standpoint. So,
There's,
Well,
on the back of the Baker Tilly, study, when we get to that, you'll see there's some other rates that they gave.
Ultimately, what I was getting at was these places potentially already have systems that are in place operating properly and could have been operating for years. We're jumping into something that we're trying to undertake, and while it feels like a high rate, we see it could have been much higher. So I was just curious if you guys are already doing work in these areas.
No, but I do know, I think 3 of the 4 have all been, these are raised increases. So I do know that for sure. So. Thank you.
Okay, the next thing I thought we'd go into is the Baker Tilly report. It looks like this in your packet. And I'll wait for Tracy to pull that up. It probably was in the, it was probably in the packet where you were at for his presentation. Yeah.
Oh, it's still there.
Is this it?
After the ordinance.
It's already there.
Yeah.
Here's that sample.
Tracy, in
Okay, so we don't think we have it.
the last window you're on where there was the 4
It's
documents.
behind the ordinance.
It's behind the ordinance.
Or behind the resolution. It's stapled with the resolution. Partway through.
Yes, page 17.
But you're better at this than I am. Can you just send it to Tracy?
I think Tracy, if you click on the far right document, I believe that's the correct
The
one.
far right document?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's about halfway through there.
Okay.
Ah, there you go.
You or the.
Good job, Mitchell.
I need it on the front page. Is that?
No, I mean,
Oh, no, go ahead and put it towards me. But, okay, so for the Baker Tilly letter, a lot of the page 2 and page 3 is what Joe just went over. So I think we can skip that, even page 4. And I think the important page to go to is page 5. And they put up 4 scenarios at different rates, 15.65, $10, $12, and $15. And today we're proposing 12, so let's go to that, which is alternative 3. And if you look right to its left, which is alternative 2, that's at $10. At $10, you can see that there's not enough money to bond with. Joe mentioned $850. Baker Tilly did a snapshot at 10, and you can see we still don't have enough to bond any new projects. And that's basically the logic behind the $12 fee, is that anything less than that, then all we're doing is maintaining the existing. We're not improving the existing except for spot repairs. There's no new construction. Only at a $12 rate, which is the minimum we can get away with, starting to pull ahead and do some new construction to alleviate a lot of the flooding here in town. If we only do maintenance, what's going to happen is I can't tell you how reliable the storm lines will be, even if they've been jetted out. Like I said, we've got one project, the first one we worked on when I started out as town manager, and I suspect, and it was quite an extensive repair, a pretty good effort on our guys, and I suspect it's already collapsed again. So that project needs to have new construction, and if we we go anything less than 12, we won't be able to do that. That's probably the key point that I wanted to make out of the study that was done by Baker Tilly, and then John and Mitchell are online. Gentlemen, did you have anything to add?
No, I thought that was well done, and thank you for helping us there since we're remote. Could you go to the page in the report that shows all the different comparative communities that might tie back to the?
Couldn't hear you, John. There was traffic.
There's a page in our report that shows the other communities or
Oh, yes,
additional
on the
communities.
last page.
Yeah, there we go. You just scroll by it. The color graph back the other direction.
Too far.
Oh, I think
Right there.
there it is.
Right
There
there.
it is. There's some other rates that from other towns. So if you want to look at that, I think Joe brought, as we have talked several times, of course, as you can imagine, on rates. The one thing that Joe has mentioned and some others have mentioned, and maybe John or Mitchell, you could back me up. A lot of communities that started out with lower rates are now finding that they couldn't get ahead of the problems. And so they're going back and raising the rates. I will tell you this, I don't think, because we're experiencing a population growth, we're gonna jump by 30% in the next 3 years as far as population, if all the lots are built out in the subdivisions under development now. And I think with that will keep, of course, bring in more revenue. And I think for many, many, many years, we won't need to increase the rate because of that population growth. And that's it. If anybody has any questions for myself or our Baker Tilly team.
I was curious if the runoff from a tax exempt property soaks into the ground less quickly or more quickly. I looked up, I don't know, a dozen other communities and nobody provides a discount to anybody special.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Those users, based on the report, are typically big providers of runoff.
Yeah.
And why they are getting a discount.
Well, the schools, which are all located in the town limits, their bill would be huge, and they're already fiscally strained, and so that's why that was brought up.
Yep. I mean, you say huge. Do you have a ballpark?
It was close to 6 figures. 6 figures. It would have been 100,000.
So I mean, like other communities, the schools pay it in those communities?
So there's, yes, they do pay. There are some communities, I believe Westfield, they have totally exempted their municipal works totally, which is different than what is being proposed here. So there are some
that doesn't include schools, though. That'd be just a city property.
Right. So I mean, yeah. So we kind of talked through it and trying to figure out a reasonable way to potentially lessen you're only getting so much of a pie, right? How do you split that up with the tax caps and those things?
At Purdue, we said it's the same. I don't know about area schools. Where'd you go to school?
Me?
Yeah.
I went to Rosemont.
I knew that. At Roseholman, does water flow uphill?
It can if you push it.
That's what I heard. We're still here, John.
That's fine.
Okay.
Is there anybody from the public online?
Nope, nobody online? Still no cussing.
So I guess with the maintenance costs for the legal drains, are those then going to be taken over?
No, I think at first that we initially entertained that, and as time has evolved, I think what we're gonna do is work out an arrangement with the county and those areas where we're gonna do improvement, we'll look at where it's draining to, of course, and if it's draining to a legal drain, then we're gonna make sure that that legal drain is adequate enough to receive that water. And if there needs to be any maintenance, what we'll probably do is approach the county, explain what we're gonna do, ask permission to do that maintenance. If that's a legal drain that's receiving money, then that'll free up money, county money to improve that drain on the outside of the town. So that'll have to happen. I think that's the way we'll handle it. There are a couple drains that I think will probably have to come under our jurisdiction and make them municipal drains. The one that's draining the cemetery, the pines, and this is all one, it all comes together. And the and Carrot Glen, I think we'll need to take that over. Probably sooner than later, probably in a year, maybe two. And we do have some legal drains that are causing some of the most serious flooding in Penn. So we need to address it. And then, quite frankly, the one I know of, they are not collecting anything on it. So there is no funds for their maintenance.
We can go ahead and close the public hearing. All right. We will close the public hearing at 6:30 PM. Move on to old business, none, correct?
Yes, sir.
New business, stormwater rate resolution. Yeah, so the resolution's in your packet. It's resolution 2021-01.
Correct.
So I guess I will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
So we've got originals here to sign.
Nice.
Okay, sign. There is the second. Alrighty. I guess if there's nothing else, meeting's adjourned.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
3 in the hot seat, how's that?
Yeah. Fast and Furious. All right.
All right. So I'm gonna call. What's his name?
last week. He's talked to 200 towns that have done it. If we have it to them 10 minutes prior to the deadline, we can get it on. So
What's the deadline?
he said probably April.
So what do I need to send?
We'll need to send him a copy of the resolution. We just passed tonight. Say it's, and then let him know that the council will vote on it next week. But,
Guys, what'll happen next is this.
Right? I mean, usually
Yeah,
somebody
somebody
costs
costs
me money and nobody shows up.
I was surprised.
Well, I mean, I don't know, hardly anybody that's not scared. So what'll happen next is, this resolution goes to the town council, and they're gonna vote to accept the resolution. And then in parallel, they'll also pass the new stormwater ordinance that talks about how we collect it and calculate it. And that sort of thing. So, then that's it, right? And they only have to vote on it once.
That's right, that's it.
And,
It'll supposed to appear on that 21 page 22.
no, it does not collect on the arrears. So,
Oh, okay.
but it'll show up on it'll only be a partial rate. It'll probably be $36 or less instead of the normal 72.
In May, you mean?
Yeah, it'll be on the May, but we can only calculate it based on, do we have to wait 30 days? After the ordinance passes?
We can go ahead and include it. That's just a
Calculate.
remonstrance.
But to calculate it, do we start the calculation prorated based on the day it passes the town council?
Right now, the rate's established now.
Oh, even though the council hasn't approved it? Oh, okay, so it'll roughly be, so 6 months will be 4.5 months. Calculation, so 4.5 months. So, which will be good. I mean, I'll give people, they'll see it and won't be as much. Just a little bit. Ease them in a little bit, you know?
Especially back in July.
Well, I added their error after some conversations with their error. They're hard on us, so we'll be hard on them.
This is John. We're gonna sign off.
Okay, see ya.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Like 10% of the ERU.
It was crazy. It was that.